Chardon, hey, true crime fans. Welcome back to another episode of Chardon, hey, true crime. We are your hosts. I am Dakota. With me this week is the amazing CM Addams. Welcome back.
Hello. All right.
How you doing this week?
Show prepping, but you know.
Oh, trust me, I get it. How's it going with the prep?
I actually got some really nice paintings done last night, including one that's settling over there.
Love that for you. Do you want to maybe shout out your show in case anyone watching is interested in seeing?
Oh, sure. It's actually next week on the 27th, which is Sunday at 2 p.m. It's Macabre Fest. That's going to be at the Offbeat. So they're doing it just in time for World Goth Day, you know, so everybody can be all fun and, you know, showing their spooky side. Yeah.
Did you ever watch, remind me, did you ever watch What We Do in the Shadows?
A long time ago, yes.
The TV show or the movie?
I have not gotten around the TV show yet, but I have seen the movie.
So there's this really great bit where one of the characters in the TV show, he's the familiar to one of the vampires, and he holds up this like paper skeleton and he goes, "Master, look, this is pretty macabre." So anytime I hear the word macabre, I just think this is pretty macabre.
That's great.
I know, right? But you know, we gotta start off a heavy episode with a little bit of fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Gotta fight back the tears.
Indeed. I mean, to be fair, this is not one of the heavy hitters episodes. This one, he is. Well, why don't you lead us into it, CM, and tell us who we're talking about this evening?
Okay, so a couple episodes ago, we did go over the Santa Strangler, who is characterized by his lovely, lovely beard in his older years.
Can't relate.
We appreciate beards in this facility.
We do.
Absolutely.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This is a pro beard show.
Right. But yeah, in this episode, we're kind of going with a similar character who looked pretty jolly in his older years, but as well was not very jolly or spreading joy. He was also spreading terror. And in this case, in New York City. So he is known as Richard Cottingham, aka the Torso Killer, but I prefer his other name, the New York Ripper, because it just hits different.
It really does. He was also known as the Times Square Killer. So you know, he had quite a few names, whereas some serial killers don't have any names. He got a couple,
right?
You know, which I mean, it kind of sucks that like you know, this guy who we barely know anything about got so many cool nicknames. Like, what the hell?
Right.
Man? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So this episode today is actually going to begin not at the beginning of his life, but near the end of his spree. And not with the killer himself, but with his final victim. Leslie Ann Odell was a 19-year-old runaway who had come to New York only a few days before the end of Richard Cottingham's crime spree in 1980. Now, as was typical at the time with teenage runaways who came to New York in the 1970s, she was almost immediately approached by a pimp and forced into prostitution. And she was, as many people would be in that situation, pretty unhappy. She's sitting there going, well, I'm rethinking my life and my life choices and everything that has led up to this moment.
Right. Yeah.
And a few days after arriving in New York and finding herself in said shitty situation that only looked like it would get worse, she was approached by a John who seemed to take an interest in her.
That already spells out disaster, but
it really does.
Go on.
All right. So he was a normal looking guy who seemed to have a lot of money. He would frequently flash a big wad of cash around and be like, oh, look at me, I've got money. And the prostitutes would come a running. which is I'm not just saying that. It was fairly typical in New York at the time for if, someone just like made eye contact with you on the street, they'd be like, "You looking for drugs? You looking for hookers? What do you want? What do you want? I can get it for you." Like people would
Right.
literally come running to you and just be like, "What do you need? I will find it for you." Just New
Right.
York
Or
in
like the
this.
stereotype with like the guy in the what is it, the trench coat,
Yeah.
open it up, what type of drugs you want.
Yeah. What kind of porn you looking for, man? Yeah. I mean, I would not be
Or like
surprised.
in Hercules, they do it. You want a sundial?
Right?
So it's like one of my favorite scenes from that movie. It was
Uh,
so random, but
I like the somebody call IXII.
yes.
Right?
Oh yeah. So needless to say, the new that square was pretty chaotic,
Mhm.
People were very what's the word? Shameless is the
Yes.
best way to say it. It was just a very shameless area, which
Mhm.
that's not always a bad thing,
Oh.
especially when you're trying to hustle.
Yeah. Yeah, but, this guy, he, seemed like he had a lot of money, he seemed like he was interested in her, so she went with him as he asked. They ended up in a bar, and he bought her drinks and asked her about her life, and, she told him the truth. She was unhappy, and she wanted to get away from her pimp, to which the John, Tommy, as he was calling himself, offered to help.
That's what makes this story so freaking
Heartbreaking?
aggravating.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just, oh, because it's like the whole. Well, I don't want to give out too much already, but it's like it was
Mhm.
just a pattern of just finding, kind of like with the Santa Strangler, finding women down on their luck at their lowest point, and then just shoving their face in the dirt, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. It's really unfortunate. He offered her $100. He offered to take her to a bus station in New Jersey where she could finally get away from her pimp and be safe. And Leslie, thinking that this was her golden opportunity to finally get away from this situation she found herself in, jumped at the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah. And
And
it's heartbreaking.
yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's just
Uh,
like, when, that it's like with things like this, it just makes you think, of the phrase, if it seems too good to be true, it usually is. But
mhm.
whenever you're at that low point, you just get so desperate for just even just a glimmer of hope. It's like, it's just, it just, God, it just pisses me off.
It pisses me off too. It really does. Yeah. So he did indeed take her to New Jersey as he said he would. And he was driving her to New Jersey, and when he drove her there, he asked her, "Hey, before I get you on the bus, can we have sex?" And she was in a position where she didn't feel like she had any choice but to say yes. So she
Right.
agreed, and Tommy, as he was calling himself, because remember that is not his real name. Tommy takes
Tommy.
her takes her to a Quality Inn motel and got them a room. And little did she know, but this was the same motel where 10 days earlier, the body of another sex worker had been found stuffed under one of the beds, hands cuffed behind her back. Now, that is an important thing to note right there, because and this case is actually one of the first cases that was tried under, what was it? The signatures, using the
Mhm.
killer's signatures. So
Right.
that
Yeah.
is a really interesting fact, in my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah, and even with like the handcuffs, cuff behind her back has a really big thing to do later with some of his paraphilias, which we will obviously get into later.
Obviously, because there are
Yeah.
Now,
Oh my god.
like the girl that Leslie Ann knew nothing about, Leslie Ann herself would then get handcuffed, and thus began what she thought was going to be just sex, and turned into what we can only assume was the worst time of her life. Yeah.
If you get together with a guy named Tommy, you're gonna have a bad time. Just
I mean, you know,
avoid guys named Tommy.
So we've got guys named Tommy. What was the other name? That Todd.
Yeah, Todd.
So
anybody with the name T, like you're on thin ice.
Thin fucking ice, my guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and make a list right here that we can call back to. Okay, so
yes,
bad names. So we've got Todd and Tommy. I'm going to go ahead and put Richard on here too, because there are a lot of Richards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got a comment here. His name is Tommy. Red flag.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to put Richard on the list because that's bad name.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I would say Ed Adolf, but I feel like that's already a given by now. Like that's the unspoken. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is. I'm going to go ahead and cheers to that.
Yep, cheers to that.
Yeah. So Leslie was tortured for hours. Now, at one point, this brave girl, this brave 19-year-old girl was able to get away from him. And she grabbed the pistol that he had been using to intimidate her and pointed it at him and said, "I will fucking kill you if you come towards me." And what did he do?
Tried to come towards her anyway.
He tried to come towards her anyway. And he was smiling while he did. And this girl, like so much fucking balls, pulled the trigger. She was ready to live. And she pulled the trigger.
Got a click.
And yeah, got a click. Just kept pulling the trigger.
Instead of a bang.
Clicked. Yeah. And it was at that point that she realized the gun was fake. And he was able to overpower her yet again. And I think it's at this point that she finally realized that there was no way she was getting out of this situation alive. And she screamed so loudly that a member of the motel staff came to the door asking if she was okay. And I got to say, like, good for the motel staff, you know, they were
right. Because I'm so used to, like, things going on in motels where people are just running around acting like idiots and nobody does anything, you know? So it's just the fact that they, oh shit, somebody's in trouble. I think personally,
I was just going to say, I think personally it has to do with the fact that there was a body that had been found there literally not even 10 days earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, they were probably just like, hey, let's go check that out.
I like the smell of that amigo.
Right? Just
but
something smells sus. This is sus.
And so I do know in that situation, I think Richard was like, I don't know if he had a gun himself or a weapon or a knife or something. I'm just gonna have a gun for now.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, you better tell them everything's okay or I'm gonna kill you and stuff, you know, and she had no choice but to say, yeah, everything's okay. But I think she did like a signal, like with her neck or something to say like, no, something is absolutely wrong. Yeah. Unfortunately, the worker, the motel worker, like immediately put 2 and 2 together. Like total props to this person, you know, because I think I don't
know who this person is, but like, you are the real MVP right here.
Right. They should have like at least dropped a name or something. Well, I mean, if they wanted to, but you know, props to them. And so the employee did go back to the front and called the police.
Thank God.
Right. It's like, for once, like, things actually went well. Well, I mean, not
Seriously.
well.
Well, I mean, it went not horrible.
Yeah, I guess that's the best way to say it.
I mean, it was pretty horrible for Leslie, but anyway, so the police came and Tommy, as Leslie had known him, was arrested fleeing the scene. And in his bag, the police found handcuffs, a leather gag, 2 slave collars, a switchblade, replica pistols, and a stockpile of prescription pills. Yeah.
I swear, the part with the replica pistols.
Yeah, right. Seriously. No,
Just,
funny
that
story about
me off. Like,
yeah, it's infuriating, but funny story about the pills. This is actually interesting. The pills found were the exact same type of pills that had been found in the systems of other women who had recently been like murdered in the area. So it just kind of, ties it together.
It just kind of ties it together.
Mm-hmm. Now, the police did discover that, again, Tommy, as he had been calling himself, was in fact Richard Cottingham, a computer worker for Blue Shield in Manhattan. He was for those who knew him, fairly normal guy. The father of 3 children, in the middle of a divorce, and seemed like the typical New Jersey guy. Hey, I'm from New Jersey. What's up? I'm Tommy. I
will say, like, you did watch like some of the documentaries with his coworker, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That one coworker is like in every single documentary that's out there about him. It's crazy.
Right. It is crazy. And it's like, part of me is like glad that he's at least trying to redeem himself, but then part of me also gets a little like, I understand that it was a different time, and people were different back then, but part of me just can't help but like some parts when they were talking together, especially in the office, he was pretty much confessing some of his crimes to him, and he was just none the wiser.
He drew a diagram for that coworker
of that exact same hotel and like where he could escape. So it's like he practically told you. And it's like, I get it, I get that, like, especially with guys, they love to shit talk and stuff, make themselves seem big and bad, like the what equivalent of stuffing your pants with like a cucumber or whatever, but it's like
locker room talk.
Yeah, locker room talk. Yeah, that's what he called it in the documentary, was like locker room talk, and it's like eventually that shit's got to come from somewhere,
I'm just kind of wondering what the fuck kind of locker rooms are people talking like that in, and also how can we burn them down?
Right.
Like, it's just so fucked.
Just lock them in there, and just just stay there, okay? Like, whew. But yeah, do we want to go ahead and go back to the previous murder?
That's I figure the way that we could do it is just like go back from
okay, we're moving back.
Yeah,
we're going back to the future.
Okay, we'll do it a little backwards this time.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry that I keep messing with my hat and my hair and everything, but it's pissing me off right now. But continue as though I am not distracting. Okay, there we go. All right. I fixed it. I'm happy now. Let's do this. All right. So 7 days, literally 7 days before the ordeal of Leslie Ann Odell and the subsequent arrest of Richard Cottingham, on May 15th, Jean Reiner was strangled and her throat was cut in the historic Seville Hotel. The killer severed the victim's breasts and posed them on the headboard of the bed and set fire to the mattress under her body before fleeing the scene. I will say this. CM and I have seen the crime scene photos from that specific case.
And it still shocks me how, like, with the pictures that we did see,
Yeah.
Because usually whenever you hear stuff like that, you expect it to be bloody, you expect it to
Mhm.
be just grotesque and stuff. It
Mhm.
was like a clean cut. Like this
I
guy knew
didn't
what he
even
was doing.
I really didn't even realize that that was what I was looking at until I read the caption, and I was just like, "What?
Right. Like,
I don't like that."
I was like, I wish I was Jared 19 right now, except not looking at pictures, not knowing how to look at pictures.
19 and I never learned how to read.
Right.
No, agreed. I never learned how to look at
Right.
pictures. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah. So before Jean, who did we have?
I think 10, even just 10 days. It's like he couldn't even just wait a week,
He was
That's just
on,
how
like
bloodthirsty this bitch was. Like this
he
was
was
10
on, like,
days.
a weird spree in this moment,
Yeah.
like, just it But go ahead, 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like 10 days before that. It was May the 5th.
Mhm.
Police found the body of a 19-year-old Valerie Ann Street at the Equality Inn in, I think it was
Hasbrook.
that same motel, wasn't it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, the victims. Oh, yep, because she had the handcuffs behind her
Yep.
back. She was found underneath the
Yep.
bed, and I think they actually managed to get his fingerprint off of the handcuff.
Yeah. It was a
And then,
partial print.
right. And she had been bruised and beaten all around her head. Like this, he just went ham on her. Like I can't even imagine what this poor girl went through. She was bitten on some of her breasts. Like that was a common thing with him, like biting the breasts, like even just like with cutting it off. It's just, he just was very violent towards that area. And
I mean, he has, since he was young, he had quite the fascination with women's breasts.
right.
Yeah.
And so, and the forensics said she died of I never know how to say that.
Asphyxiation.
Yeah, there we go. That
Yeah.
word. The word where you do the die.
Yeah.
With the lack of air.
Yeah. Asphyxiation.
Yes.
That is a horrible way to go.
Yes.
Ugh. I don't like it. Yeah. Before that, on December 2nd, 1979, firemen in New York responded to an alarm at the Travel Inn Motel near Times Square. And inside, they found the bodies of Dida Gozari. This one, I feel bad for butchering her name.
Goodarzi? I believe. Yeah, it's
Goodarzi.
Goodarzi.
Yeah. Dida Goodarzi. God. All right,
Yeah,
let me try that one more time. Hang on. I can do this.
You got it. I believe in you.
Dida Goodarzi.
Woo!
Boom!
All right.
Did it. All right. Okay. So they found the bodies of Dida Goodarzi and another unidentified woman who to this day is still unidentified, but they believe that she was about 16 years old, the unidentified girl.
Right.
Yeah. That's horrifying. Both bodies had their hands and heads removed. They had been doused with lighter fluid and set on fire, and the missing body parts to this day have never been found.
I do know there was a possibility that I think in one of the documentaries they actually did. I think it was actually a guy in the elevator when the fire started. And then I think Richard actually came in with the bag, and he suspects that the bag was full of the heads and the hands.
So the guy,
and
that guy is the guy that I was bitching about to you earlier this week. The one who wrote the book.
Right.
He, oh God, his name is Peter. And we actually talk about him a little bit later in the episode. But listen, he's a PhD in like criminal justice and everything, but he exhausts me. His writing style is exhausting.
Gotcha. The one thing,
mm-hmm.
right. And the one thing that kind of like was just so shocking about this discovery with the torsos was once the fire hit and the fire department came in, they swooped in, and I think one of the firefighters, like, just, you know, by instinct, because, you know, that's just his job, just grabbed the body, ran out of there, was about to do CPR, and then there's no fucking head, you know, and it's like, God, I can just, that poor guy, I would not be surprised if he, like, retired that day, just like, you just stumbled onto a crime scene just trying to do your job. Like, I can't even imagine just
like started doing chest compressions, turned to like blow air into their mouth, and there's no head. Well, I guess the chest compressions aren't working.
Right. It's like, hey George, I don't think this is gonna work. There's no head. What do we do?
We've seen the photos of one of the girls that was burned as well, and head and hands were removed, and those are horrifying.
Right.
Just horrifying. So yeah, and a couple of years before that, we're going to go a couple of years back now to 1977. On December 15th, the body of X-ray tech Marianne Carr was also found brutally beaten and strangled in the parking lot of the exact same Quality Inn motel in Hasbrook Heights. Now, she had marks around her wrists and ankles that indicated that she had been handcuffed, and she had traces of adhesive tape around her mouth. And she had been abducted from a Little Ferry apartment complex that Richard Cottingham and his wife had actually lived at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the thing that just kind of made it heartbreaking with this story is Marianne Carr, her husband, who just happened to look very similar to Richard Cottingham, was out of town, you know, for a business trip. And that just had so many people misleading in so many different directions, believing he killed his own wife, but it was just a really unfortunate situation of mistaken identity.
Yeah.
And it's like, just imagine just going out of town and then just coming back and your wife's gone, you know, over a guy who might have been your doppelganger, your evil doppelganger.
Right? Your wife is dead. And then you come home, your wife is dead, and the police are like, so we hear you murdered your wife.
What the fuck? No.
Yeah. Well, how come your neighbor was like, oh yeah, I saw him walking up to the apartment when I was leaving for work, and you were out of town? Do you have any proof that you were out of town?
My plane ticket, some selfies I took. Like, I mean, that's obviously not what happened because, you know, selfies weren't a thing back then, but, you know, it's like,
no, people have been taking selfies for like centuries.
Well, true. He could have taken a sick ass selfie with one of those little Kodak
like
things,
like a Polaroid. I think Polaroids were around in the 70s.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Polaroids were a thing in the 70s. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, all of those crimes were eventually found to be perpetrated by the same man who had abducted and tortured Leslie Ann Odell, Richard Cottingham.
Fucking Cottingham.
Fuckface Cottingham.
Yes. We should just call him fuck. Well, you know what? Since his name is Richard, let's just call him Dick because he's a dick.
Dickface Cottingham.
Yes, Dickface Cottingham. That's just we're gonna call him that from now on.
That's his name now, Dickface Cottingham. Now, ugh. The one thing of Gesundheit.
Thank you.
I like that you like kind of dabbed when you did it too. This is dab time.
I'm hip.
No, unfortunately, not a lot is known about his early life. What we were
that was very frustrating. Like,
oh my god, that is the only reason that I even got that. We got a bless you here in the comments from Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, Mark.
No, this is so frustrating. Normally, what I love to do is I love to talk about their early lives. Like, that is
Right,
something that I truly find fascinating, is the lead up to the killing, you know?
right, because you
And to
usually can kind
see
of speculate and put things together, like, maybe this is what happened, maybe this is what sparked that feeling and stuff, but with him, it's like, there's
nothing.
nothing, and I think that's what
Nothing.
makes this case so bizarre because it's like we have
Right?
no leads.
Even with the Santa Strangler, we were able to find out a little bit about his life.
Right. Yeah, so the only
Literally
thing
literally, I messaged CM right before we started filming, and I was like, "I just, after days of research, found out what his wife's name was. It's Janet."
Janet,
Yeah.
your husband's a killer.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off, though. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, you're good, you're good. Yeah, so like you said, there's very little known about his early life, but it
Mhm.
was and the thing that just is so baffling is that it was fairly generic. Like it was very run of the mill. Like he was born in the Bronx
Yeah.
and then quickly moved to New Jersey and then I think yeah, he was like the oldest out of 4.
Yeah, he had, 3 sisters.
Yeah, so it's like he was just surrounded by usually a lot of women because his dad was a full-time worker, was just constantly going out working, and the
Mhm.
mom was a stay-at-home mom who doted on her kid. So
Mhm.
he was kind of a big mama's boy, I guess, you know?
Yikes.
Big yikes.
Big yikes, big yikes. I went on a single date with a guy that called himself a mama's boy, and I was just like, "Never again." Just no, this is it's big old red flag. Big
Mhm.
old red flag.
Whew.
Yeah. And then he proceeded to borderline stalk me for 3 years. Yeah, I had to change my phone number.
I'm so sorry.
Eh,
Yeah, if you're watching this, dude, like, fuck you.
he would hit me up, like, all the time, and he'd be like, "Do you wanna come do this? Do you wanna come do that?" And I'd be like, "No, thank you. No, thank
Bless
you."
your
And then
mom.
sometimes
Bless her.
I wouldn't even reply, and then he would keep messaging me, and I was just like, "I haven't seen you in, like, 2 years. Why are you texting me?"
Yeesh.
Yeah.
My God. Well,
Mhm.
hopefully, it wasn't like Richard Cottingham 2.0.
No, no. He was a nice guy, he just didn't do anything for me, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
But anyways, Richard Cottingham, didn't enjoy team sports, but he did end up being a cross-country runner. He raised pigeons, and he himself said that he was fairly popular from a young age, like any narcissist does.
Yeah, because I think later some of his classmates in one of those documentary like, no, 2 of them in the
Mhm,
documentaries actually came
mhm.
forward and was like, "No, he never really was in any social cliques. He just kinda had this air about him that he thought he was too good for people, and then the people that he did hang around with, he was like the leader, but it's because they were like the not so popular crowd. So I feel like they were the ones who were like insecure enough to follow a guy like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, mood.
Yeah. It's one of
Yeah.
those people that claim they peaked in high school, but they fucking didn't.
They just haven't peaked ever at all.
Nope. It never
Feels
came.
mean to say, but, like,
Yeah.
but he claimed that when he was in elementary school, he had all kinds of girls chasing after him, and he would be in little schoolyard romances, but if things didn't go exactly his way, he would move on to the next girl because there was always another girl waiting.
That sounds about right. That just
Yeah.
sounds like his kind of attitude. Like I kind of feel like the whole girls chasing after him might have been a stretch, but I can definitely just the way his like smug attitude was and it's just very misogynistic. It's just like
And smarmy.
yeah, smarmy. Like yeah, I
Yeah.
can see him being like that. Oh no, things have to go exactly my way and if they don't then just or whatever. He did exactly that. Dramatic exit.
Huh.
Huh.
God, he would have fit in with the, like, theater kids.
God, even the theater kids wouldn't like him.
You know what? Accurate. Accurate.
Right.
His popularity, yeah, was hindered in 7th grade when he moved schools, and after being the popular boy on the schoolyard, he was now an outcast at his new school, something that he hated and would insist to his mother that he never wanted to go to school again.
My theory is maybe he moved to a place where people knew better and could
Yeah.
probably catch on his shit better, you know?
I mean, he was moving from one New Jersey school to another New Jersey school. My guess is he moved from like a private school where everybody's just like, oh, yeah, to a public school where everyone is just like, shut the fuck up, Richie.
Pretty much.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I was so popular at my other school. And they're like, shut the fuck up. No, you weren't.
Right.
My cousin goes to that school. You know what they said? They said you were a fucking mook.
Pretty much.
And that's how they talk in New Jersey.
They called me a mood. That's it. That's what started it.
Yeah. He'd be like walking down the halls. They'd be like, oh, there goes Richie the fucking mook. He was just like, I hate that name. Don't call me that, you guys.
So why'd you start killing? They called me Richard the Mook. That's why.
And it wasn't even guys, it was girls doing it too.
Right. So that
like the girls would like, you know, the girls would like stand in the hall and they'd be like, there's fucking Richie the Mook. Look at that fucking guy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God, that's so funny. So messed up. Anyways, yeah, what happened after he graduated high school?
He eventually started working in a office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in New York,
Mm-hmm.
where his like it was the same company his father was a vice president at. I think it was a I want to say it was an insurance company. I think it was.
That sounds about right. I mean,
and then he started in the mailroom and then eventually got into like the computers and stuff like that. And then during this time, technology was like super advancing and people haven't even heard what a gigabyte was yet, you know. So it's like I think during that time he probably got kind of super close knit with like all that cool technology, and then got sent to take some computer courses. So, you know, you get to advance even more with that. And then in October of 1966, he went to work as a computer operator for Blue Cross Blue Shield, which he stayed until his arrest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's where we get to meet his crazy coworker we got to see in all of the documentaries, you know.
Fun fact, actually, I would like to throw this out. He was also working with Rodney Alcala, aka the dating game killer.
Oh, yes, that's right. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to go over him. Like, we're going to be next week, right?
Yeah, next week we are talking about Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer, and I am so excited because I found a bunch of clips of the dating game on YouTube, and we are going to watch them together.
Yes, I am so excited for that because I have a stupid little trivia about him, but I will wait until the next episode to talk about it.
I am excited about that. I love trivia. So, Dickface Cottingham.
Yep.
He was married in 1970 to Janet Cottingham.
I'm so sorry, Janet.
No idea what her maiden name is. I've been trying to find her and his children on social media all day and have not been able to. I truly believe that they probably changed their last name back to their mother's maiden name after all of this.
Yeah.
For which I cannot blame them.
Yeah.
But I cannot find their mother's maiden name, and I don't want to email the Attorney General again because I'm still waiting for them to email me back.
Oh, about Adolf?
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, they had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. And in 1978, his wife, Janet, filed for divorce on the grounds of abandonment and mental cruelty, aka refusing to have sex with her after the birth of their third child, staying out until the early morning, and leaving her with insufficient household funds.
I will
So,
say with
oh,
her,
yeah.
yeah, it's like it's one of those like I feel for her, but then once I started like reading into like how nasty their divorce got, it was just like some parts were kind of petty. Like I think at some point she tried to accuse him of going to gay bars, which was like, kind of like a taboo thing back in that day, and you actually could get in some legal trouble for that, which is stupid, but
so stupid.
you're right. But it was just like, look, honey, I get it. You wanted to get plowed every other night, I guess. I don't know. I don't know your life, but
I think what she just wanted was at least just one orgasm. Just one. Because I'm going to go ahead and guess that Dickface never made her orgasm.
Probably not.
I mean, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. Just hang on 1 second. We're going to take a little sideline for a moment here because I just need to make this point. Okay. I need to show you who we are talking about at this point in time. Because this fucking guy. Ugh, I hate him. I hate him and his stupid face and his stupid little haircut.
Stupid mustache. Looks like fucking what would happen if like Mario from Super Mario Brothers just stopped trying. Just
Yeah. So here we go. This is the fucking guy. All right.
Except
this is him. Yeah, he shaved the mustache, but that's him in the suit and looking all angry. I'm gonna go ahead and say with absolute certainty that man has never made a woman come once in his life.
Probably not. No. That's a face that says he just threw a stack of cash and said, finish yourself off. Like that's just the face I get. Like even his poor lawyer next to him's like, what the fuck, man? Come on.
Yeah, right. Seriously. His lawyer's just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, really? Really?
Right. Like, come on, dude. Not even once. Really? You had all this experience and nothing?
Not
lame.
All right, lame. Whatever. Yeah, seriously. That lawyer gets it. You saw the lawyer in the documentaries, right?
Yes.
That lawyer could get it. All right. Yes. I'm just saying. He could get it.
Whew.
But anyways, so what do you think that he was doing out until the early mornings?
Gee, maybe, like trying to kill hookers and, trying to feel masculated, because, to make up for being called Richie the Mook, that's probably what happens anytime he's trying. He just hears Richard the Mook and it fucks everything up.
He's going, he's like, yeah. And then all of a sudden in his head, he's just like, oh, that's fucking Richie the Mook. And he's just like, damn it, I lost it.
Damn it. It's all your fault. I don't even know what happened.
Like, the girl's just like, what is happening right now? He's just like, how dare you call me Richie the Mook?
No, the fuck I didn't. I've just been quiet because nothing's been going on.
She's like, you said your name was Jim. Why would I call you Richie the Mook?
Oh my god.
I thought your name was Tommy. Who the fuck is Richie?
Right? Go shit.
Yep.
Now I gotta kill you so you won't tell.
Fuck. Yeah, exactly.
He was, staying up all night, partying not too hard, but then coming home early in the morning so he can, rest up and go to work and make it seem like he ain't doing nothing.
Well, I mean, to be fair, his work hours were like from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Right.
He worked night shift, so.
Right. And, obviously because of the location he was in, he was a frequent customer at sex clubs that were popping all over New York City because,
sex clubs, peep shows, adult bookstores, live sex shows, porno theaters. If you wanted smut in New York in the 70s, you were in the right place because Times Square was smut central.
It was.
Yeah.
Like, think of Pornhub before the internet existed. That's what it was.
Like, you know how when you're a kid and you think that like the black market is like different little like a hallway of like different stores, and it's all selling stuff that like you're not supposed to buy, like guns and like porn and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Except that was pretty much it. Except, out in the open, people are
Mhm.
screaming at you, "Hey, you want to see some
Mhm.
titties? Come in here."
I miss your face. Yeah, pretty much. Like, hey, there's boobs here and people are getting plowed on stage. Come check it out. It's like $5 to like watch someone have sex IRL.
Right.
Which honestly just feels awkward to me. Like, I don't know. Like, imagine like if you're like sitting like on the edge of the stage and the bed is like over here, you're literally just watching a dude's butt like go back and forth. Like,
Maybe they liked that. I don't know.
maybe, I guess, but it's just, I don't know.
They actually
Man.
interviewed some of the performers on the Netflix documentary.
Yeah.
And they actually talked about how they actually had to do certain positions to make sure the audience could actually like see everything.
That's right. I forgot about that. You're right. You're absolutely right. But as we have mentioned before, Richard was talking to his coworkers, not the dating game killer.
Yeah,
apparently they weren't even aware of each other.
They would have been great friends.
Oh my God, right?
They would have been. Like, just imagine that, like them eventually going to jail and finding out, oh, there was another killer in my like department or something. Like, we could have been friends.
We could have been the Otis Toole and Henry Lee Lucas of New York.
Right.
Instead of the South. Yeah, so he would, talk to his coworkers about it. And I mean, you remember a lot more of what he was talking about with his coworkers than I
he
do.
would sit there and like, while they're in the middle of working, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I went and picked up some prostitutes. We went to a hotel and I just dipped and took her clothes and her money and ran and stuff." Like he pretty much admitted that he was a shitty ass person.
And his coworker was just sort of like,
yeah, okay, whatever. Do you have the files for, department, whatever the fuck, like he even said like, you just take it with a grain of salt, but I'm like, how,
Yeah, exactly. Just hey, so you know how you're like taking all of that with a grain of salt, maybe you should like tell somebody.
Yeah, because to me it's like things you take with a grain of salt is somebody saying like, I met Lady Gaga and we went backstage and braided each other's hair and talked about, I don't know, girls or something, like not, oh, I just went and bought a bunch of hookers and stole from them and ran and just all this, especially when it's like consistent, so it's like
I do remember one thing that he talked about with one of his coworkers was he would talk about the different sex clubs that he'd go to.
Right.
And he was really into the violent ones.
Right.
Like the ones where a man, like this is pretty graphic. I mean, we've already talked about people like cutting off breasts and killing and stuff, but this right here is pretty graphic. There was a sex show that he went in and was watching, and he witnessed a man driving needles and pins into a woman's breast, and he found that arousing. I don't know if it's just because of the breasts, because as we know, Dickface Cottingham is kind of a boob guy. Like,
yeah, I think he also
massively
talked about like this one's like kind of similar but not related, not like related to the breasts, but he actually also said that he was big into like this one sex show that he watched where a dominatrix like had a guy leashed. And they were like walking and she like made him like lick a toilet seat or something like that, before the airplane chick, the BDSM clubs were doing it first, yeah, I know, gross. And he said he got off to that too, but I don't think it was because of like the gross act. I think it was more like the degrading and the control and just having somebody on a leash and stuff,
I kind of wonder if he would have been into it if women were like degrading him. Like I'm curious about that now. Like, do you think that the divorce got so messy because he was just like, oh yeah, she's
You
like,
didn't put a leash on me once, lady.
yeah, seriously, like, come on.
You're gonna call me Richie the Mook. You might as well spit in my face and put a leash on me or something, you know?
I will admit I watch porn, and I was watching one and this guy like spit in a girl's mouth and I was just like, "Ugh! Nope, can't watch this now."
Yeah, I don't like spitting either. It's
No,
stupid.
it's disgusting. Like that was
I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? It's not a shower?
Nah.
What do I do with this?
Nah.
Take it back. Here.
No.
Here.
Yeah.
Throw it back. Okay, but
No,
anyway.
he literally in her open mouth and I was just like, "Ugh!"
Ugh.
I did not like that.
No, thank you.
But I
yeah,
feel like that's the kind of thing that Dickface Cottingham would have been into.
Yep. But apparently his mother didn't care because after his arrest, his own mother was the one who actually hired the lawyer. And yeah, I think it was like against the advice of the lawyer. He's like, look, I don't want to be on this case, but she's like, nah, do it anyway. My son's innocent, you know. Of course, you know, that's how a mom is, you know. Well, an overbearing mother, I mean.
True.
You know,
I feel like honestly, like he was getting paid.
Yeah, he was getting paid.
Yeah.
And even though Richard was obviously fucking guilty, he wanted to prove he was innocent, but I'd rather say more like he was just dedicated to getting away with it.
Here's what I think. I think that he thought that he was too smart to be convicted.
Right. Which he wasn't. He just
no.
Yeah, I think even the lawyer himself even said that. He's like, he thinks he's way smarter than everybody. He thinks he's just so smart that he's going to get away with it, but he's not. He's got the confidence, but that's it.
Confidence is not always key, my guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, by this point, the police detectives in Manhattan and New Jersey had been working together, figuring out the crimes, fitting the patterns of Richard Cottingham. But one of the most damning pieces of evidence actually came from Richie's home, where they found a locked room that his wife Janet wasn't able to access. And in that room, they found a lot of pornographic artwork and what would ultimately lead to the police calling it the trophy room.
Right. Yeah, because they didn't just find, you know, the clothes that he claimed to the coworker that he was stealing from them, just not in the same context. But jewelry, which I remember one of the pieces of jewelry I think was like a bear necklace or something it was a heart necklace that actually belonged to
one of the prostitutes.
Yeah, one of the ones that got their heads cut off. The one that they actually had to identify through her clothes. Yeah, she actually had a heart necklace, and they actually found that in his possession. I do remember that, and so it tied him not just to the murders, but to several beatings and rapes that went unsolved as well. And I remember one of the prostitutes that went through that actually did not just testify, but was also in the documentary.
That's right. That is absolutely right. So Karen Schlitt, Susan Geiger, and Leslie Ann Odell were all women who were attacked and who had survived Richard Cottingham, and all were able to identify the man who had attacked them as the defendant, Richard Cottingham. And I think it was
Susan.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's like it's like the typical fuckboy thing. He thought he could gaslight his way out of it. Here's all this evidence that you did this thing. Oh, no, I didn't do that. No, I didn't.
No.
I didn't do that. Homeboy, we're literally showing you right in your face that you did this. No, I didn't.
We have it. Look here's the paper. It's right here. Look at this.
What paper? I don't see no paper. Like,
bruh. Right? Seriously. God, I kind of want to kick him in the balls. Like a little
Let's go visit him. Just look him dead in the face. Just kick him in the balls and leave.
I would pay what's her face to do that.
Oh my god, since he looks like Santa, what if it kicks and it sounds like a freaking like bell off of a sleigh?
Jingle bells.
Yes, I'm gonna jingle your bells.
Kick him right in the jingle bells.
Yeah. Good times, good times.
Anyways, Richie decided, Richie the fucking mook decided that it would make sense to proclaim his innocence by claiming that everybody was framing him. Now, I did use the word narcissist a minute ago. I would like to point out, narcissist is not a word that we use lightly. Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence lies a fragile self-esteem that's vulnerable to the slightest criticism. But based on our research, by our unqualified understanding of a narcissist, I think I can speak for both of us when I say that you and I do truly believe that he is a narcissist.
Yes. Like, the symptoms were there, especially since this is just a speculation of mine, you know, so take it with a grain of salt. I feel like, especially since he mainly grew up with a lot of women, I feel like maybe in a way that felt like, because, you know, especially when how do I say this? Like, I'm a middle child. I had an older sister and a younger brother, which, you know, fortunately it wasn't as crazy, but usually when there's a lot of women in the house, things tend to get kind of chaotic. We're very, you know, loud in our domestic areas and stuff, and sometimes you can feel even just slightly out of place. Like, even though they're clearly your siblings, you know, you clearly belong there and stuff, but something about it just has, like, especially when your dad's not even there, like the only other guy you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Your feeling of like unimportance because, you know, you're not this cool sister of yours or whatever, but, you know, I'm probably just rambling at this point, but
it's okay. We do that here. That's totally fine.
But for the record, you know, like, we're definitely not demonizing people with a genuine narcissism disorder, because
no, absolutely not.
It's a real condition. It's just this happens to be a very shitty person that just happened to have it.
It has not been confirmed. I will say that it has not been confirmed that Richie the Mook is a fucking narcissist, but Richie the fucking Mook sure does act like one. I mean,
he
going
has
over
some definite unwarranted self-importance. Let's just say
exactly. He has a deep need for excessive attention and admiration. Him always telling those stories about, oh, I beat up a hooker and she didn't do anything about it, to his coworker.
Okay, Richie. Just give me the papers.
A deep need for excessive attention and admiration. Him always being like, hey, you want to hear about the hooker I beat up?
Right. And it's like, not really. Yeah, you do. Here it goes.
Yeah. Troubled relationships. His wife filed for divorce. And a lack of empathy for others. To this day, he demonstrates the lack of empathy for others. And we will get into that in a couple of minutes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But eventually, he was convicted of 5 murders in 2 separate trials in New Jersey in 1981 and 1982, and a single trial in New York in 1984 for 3 murders. He pleaded innocent. He continues to claim that he was framed, or at least he did until 2009. Yeah. When he admitted that he perpetrated the murders that he was accused of, finally.
And I feel like that's another thing that kind of goes into his narcissism, was like, no, I didn't do all these things. I was framed. But it's like, okay,
you're not from
the cases that people actually were being framed for, you have to have a reason for why you're being framed, and there was no reason.
No. Why would they frame you, Richie?
Yeah, why would they frame you other than you're just a fucking mook? Like,
Yeah. Richie the fucking mook.
right, Richie the fucking mook.
Yeah.
So yeah, like once he did get, well, I'm probably like jumping. I'm trying not to jump, but
It's okay. It's all right.
yeah, I think he didn't actually confess to any murders, like you said, until 2009, and that entire interview was just so uncomfortable. Like, it was this beautiful, beautiful woman who is a journalist, and she likes to get into the mind of killers, like what makes them kill, like why are they so obsessed with it?
Why you do this?
Yeah, why did you do this? Just tell me. Like, I'm not here to judge. I just want to know. You know, curious minds want to know. I want to fucking know.
I'm a curious mind. Why you do this?
To know, like, our viewers want to know. What, like, we want to know. Why? And then he finally admitted it. And I think at one point in the interview, she even said, like, you know, why did you kill these women? And he was like, because I like the control. I like having power and dominion over them and stuff. And then she even said, well, would you want to kill me? And he's like, no. I mean, you the way she, you know, had her stature and stuff. He's like, no, you look like a woman I can respect. You know, you're a woman I respect. I could even see you as like my girlfriend, and even just started flirting with her. And I'm just like, she don't want you.
That's settle down, you Santa-looking motherfucker.
Right. Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. And not just that, it just confirmed that misogyny, because it's like, okay, so these women that you killed, just because they are of their profession of choice, you view them as below you, as like things that they're worth killing. But this woman just casually sitting in a suit in front of you has more worth, apparently, you know, and shit like that pisses me off. Like, yeah, as a, you know, a woman who likes to dress more modestly, you know, and that's not because of anything in particular. It's just, that's just what makes me feel comfortable.
That's your vibe.
Yeah, that just happens to be my vibe. And it just pisses me off when people try to say like, oh, you're not like those sluts or like those other people that don't respect themselves. I'm like, yes, they do. Don't do that. You know, that's rude.
I don't dress particularly modestly. I wear crop tops. I wear dresses. I wear whatever the frickety frack I want. And, that doesn't mean I don't respect myself. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean I don't respect myself. Like,
and it just pisses me off that he's clearly one of those kind of guys that thinks things like that, like, determine your overall worth. And I'm like, bitch, you're like, look at your thinning ass hair. Like, what does that say about your worth, you know?
Yeah, let's just for the record, so it shall reflect. This is what fuckface Cottingham looks like right now. There you go. Look at this Santa-looking motherfucker.
Right. I'm just like, look at you. You don't look like you respect yourself.
No.
Look how like that hair looks like, what is it called? Like
cotton candy.
Yeah, like put some moisturizer on it, boy. Like,
seriously, like, God, put some moisturizer on your face.
Their worth. Like, look at you.
Seriously. But okay, so
all right, we're done.
It's okay. Yeah, we you know, that's just what happens here. You know, on Chardonnay True Crime, we go on little rants about this shit because we get angry at the serial killers, and we are allowed. What was that?
I was gonna say Chardonnay says sex worker rights.
Yeah, absolutely, sex. I will drink to that. I will drink to that. Anyways, so like I mentioned before, there was the case was built on signature pattern. There was only one partial print that was received on the handcuff left behind on Valerie Street. And a good case was built against him. Especially helping with the victims' jewelry and clothes and everything, and the surviving victims. But it would later
Right.
come out over the years that he was responsible for many more victims, as Detective Robert and Anzalotti.
Yeah,
Robert
Anzalotti.
Anzalotti of the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office would discover from, talking with this fucking mook for as long as he did.
Right.
This guy, he was talking with him for years until he retired.
Yeah, and I think that he's still confessing to murders to this day. So it's
I
like
mean,
that number's not
mhm.
stopping.
No, it's not. He claims that he committed his first murder when he was 21 years old. Well, it's his first known murder. That
Right.
was on October 28th, 1967, when he strangled Nancy Vogel, a 29-year-old married mother of two. Her nude body and hands were bound in front of her, and her nude body was found under a blanket behind the passenger seat of her car parked in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. She had last been seen 3 days earlier when she left home, saying that she was going to go play bingo with some friends at church. And that remained unsolved until he confessed in August 2010.
That breaks my heart because it's like, especially since she's going to go play bingo with friends at a local church, she was probably just a churchgoer, a loving mother, that kind of, again, goes with that misogyny. It's like you could be the good girl who goes to church, who does everything right, but you're still going to be a whore in these misogynists' eyes, It's like you can do everything right or wrong and it's not going to matter.
No. It's pretty fucked.
Yeah, it's very fucked.
Yeah. Let's see. Who was next? Okay, so he started confessing in 2014.
Right.
To Detective Anzalotti. And he confessed to the murders of 3 teenage girls in 1968 and 1969.
Right. I think the youngest being 13 years old. So it's like, again, that plays into it's like you can just be a fucking minor. It doesn't matter.
A literal child.
Right. And it's like, it just doesn't matter. You're just damned no matter what you do. And it's like, God, I want to punch him in the face. We are gonna fucking kick his jingle bells in for real.
We're gonna throw hands.
We are gonna
throw hands with this Santa Claus looking motherfucker.
Right.
Why is it that Adolf was called the Santa Strangler and this fucking mook wasn't called the Santa? I mean, I guess, because he was caught before he looked like Santa, but
right.
But still.
Let's see. I think he was also linked to some cold case murders as well.
Yeah, he was, because he didn't admit to these until 2014.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to find it.
Well, I know one of them was Jacqueline Harp.
Right. Yeah, that was the youngest
13 years old. She was murdered July 17th, 1968. And she had been walking home after band practice in Midland Park, New Jersey. And she was ambushed and strangled by Richie the fucking Mook.
Richie the fucking Mook
with the leather strap on her bag.
Jeez.
It makes me a little cautious because I do buy real leather. I like real leather. I don't know what to say.
It's nice.
It's so nice.
Especially the way it smells. Like, oh.
When I was in Italy, I went to a leather factory. Oh my God. That place was amazing. It smelled so good.
Yeah. And then the next victim was Irene Blaze, who was 18, which, that's on thin fucking ice.
Thin fucking ice, Richie.
Thin fucking ice. Yeah, April 7th, 1969 in Hackensack, New Jersey, and was found face down in 4 feet of water in the Saddle River, strangled with a wire. or some like chain or crucifix or something that
Well,
she was wearing.
she was wearing a crucifix, so it could have been that.
Yeah, more than likely. It's just, oh, God, that pisses me off because it's like you didn't even have a weapon, right? Like with these situations, it's like you just went in. Like, God.
What honestly, the way I look at this is it is building up. You
Yeah,
know what I
building
mean?
up. Because
Like
it's like they're young, they're
he's
vulnerable,
learning what works.
right. And then you start working your way up like it's a fucking competition
Mhm.
or something.
Mhm. Or like you're practicing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look at it from the perspective of an artist, you know, because you
Mhm.
are an artist.
Yes. It's like you're
You,
gonna get that easy practice in before you start
Mhm,
going into the big leagues. Absolutely.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, you did, you know, drawings that in the past, I'm sure, you know, they are very different from what you were doing right now.
Very, yeah, absolutely.
And for the record, I am not calling serial killers
Oh yeah,
artists.
it's not. Yeah.
I
Like
just want
it was
to,
a example. Like
I just want to
yeah.
clarify that real quick. That is
Yeah.
not what I am saying here.
Yeah, it's just like that's just the mindset of what he was in. Like
Yes.
this is what I'm doing. I need to practice first before I start
Mm-hmm.
getting into those big shot things. And then I think the other victim was 15-year-old Denise, I hope I'm saying this right, Valaska?
That sounds right to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Abducted later in that same year, July
69.
14th, yeah, in Emerson, New Jersey, while walking to a friend's home, and then found the next morning in that same Saddle Brook. So it's like that was your sign. And then oh wait, yeah, it was.
No,
Oh
it's
wait, no,
not.
it was
It
that
was
same
Saddle
area. My
River,
bad.
but
Sorry,
this is a
Saddle
different
River, Saddle
town.
Brook. My
Yeah.
bad. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my fault.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
on the side of the road next to a cemetery, strangled with a cord or a chain from her crucifix. So it's like that same thing with the
Again.
crucifix and stuff. It's like
It's almost like he's specifically targeting girls that wear crucifixes at this point. I don't know.
right.
He goes from the church girls to the prostitutes. Like
It's just how deep that like hatred went.
the Madonna and the whore.
Right. So it's like no matter what, like you just
Mm-hmm.
got to be cautious. Like, and people like that still exist to this day. Like, yeah, they might not be going around killing women, but they have potential to.
They're called
It's like,
incels.
yeah, the incels, the fucking incels, which, you know, we can talk about some incels later with some different. I'll tell you in the Discord because I got a few incels I need to tell you about that we can.
I am excited to read it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Discord, though, real quick, if you are interested in checking out our Discord, you can access it for just $1 a month by subscribing. Right down below, you will see the link. It is patreon.com/ChardonnayTC. You see it scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now.
Yep. There
And
it is.
yeah, if you want to join a Discord where we are sitting and talking about true crime news, serial killers, etc., all of that fun stuff, it's you literally get access for $1 a month. Just saying.
Get to talk with us, hang out with the cool kids.
Yeah. We will do
cool
live streams in there that are, you know, private access only.
Only the cool.
But anyways, so the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office closed the 3 cold case murders, but for several years kept that secret from the public, except for the victims' family members. But in December 2019, forensic historian and author Peter Vronsky, the guy that we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
I respect him. I respect him for what he has done and everything. He's written a book. It's not my cup of tea. I don't like his writing style personally, but I respect him for the things that he's done. But on the eve of publishing the revelation in his second edition of Serial Killers: The Method and Madness of Monster made it public, with the prosecutor's office cooperating in a community meeting in Midland Park, the site where Jacqueline Harp had been murdered. And and Anzalotti and
Yeah.
the prosecutor's office confirmed the closures of the 3 schoolgirl murders from 1968 to 1969.
Mhm.
So that's something that they got to do, you know? They got to say, "Hey, like, these cases are closed now. This isn't something
Right.
that we need to keep researching or whatever."
Right. Especially since, it was in the same location and he
Mhm.
pretty much admitted to them and stuff, and at least the
Mhm.
families got to, like, before they died, got to have, like, some rest knowing, hey, we
Yeah.
found the killer and he's behind bars, at least.
Absolutely, absolutely, but, I mean, Richie the fucking Mook is
Yeah.
still committing, not committing,
Confessing. Yeah.
confessing to stuff as late as, I think you said the latest one that he confessed to was in 2021,
2001.
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2021,
Yeah. Very, very recently.
like, literally last April.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He confessed to the unsolved case of a double abduction, rape, and forcible drowning of some teenagers named Lorraine Kelly, who was 16 years old,
Mhm.
and Mary Ann Pryler, 17, in let me see that, Montvale, New Jersey, which is like one of the most notorious cold cases of New Jersey. Like, I actually confirmed that with a friend in New Jersey.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
Mm,
she's not really big into true crime, but she did, like, mention it. So
mhm.
that's just how notorious it was, I guess. But
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I think those murders happened, like, in August 9th, 1974. So it's like after so long, they finally can close that case.
Actually, an interesting thing about that case is this is one of the only cases that he has expressed any regret over because he spent time with the girls. He was with them for several days before he drowned them in the bathtub of a motel. And he was like, they probably wouldn't have even have said anything. Like, I didn't have to kill them. I really didn't need to do that, but I did. And I probably shouldn't have killed them, because they wouldn't have told on me anyway.
That breaks my heart. Like, not for him. Like, he did
No.
what the fuck he did. It's just
Mhm.
more like I'm sad for them because he admitted that it was senseless.
Yeah.
But he could have just walked away and he didn't because he just felt that entitled to their life.
That is it. It is entitlement.
Mhm.
He is absolutely entitled. That is a way of saying it.
Yep.
And the confession was finally gotten by, Detective Anzalotti
Mhm.
weeks before his retirement. It was facilitated by the work of Peter Vronsky and, surprisingly, the daughter of Dita Guzari.
Yes.
Yeah. Now her
This
name
is
is
such a bizarre thing, but
it's really weird. I feel like it's important to talk about at the end of this case, or at
right.
the end of this. Her name is Jennifer Weiss. She had been adopted, and when she got old enough, she was like, I want to know who my birth parents are. So she reached out to the adoption agency and they were like, "Hey, we've been waiting for your call. We have some stuff to give you." And she was like, "Yay, like I get to find out who my mom is." And then she gets there and they're like, "So
I'm
here's a
afraid I've got some bad news.
here is a folder of newspaper clippings about how your mother was fucking murked and the guy who did it. And you're welcome."
Here you go. Happy
Truth
adoption.
There is one thing that
Bye.
was in there. There was a letter from Dita, and it was written because she was 14 years old when she gave birth to Jennifer.
Mhm.
And it was just this letter being like, "I'm sorry I can't be your mommy. Like, I'm a fucking child. Like, good luck in life, kiddo."
Right.
Yeah.
So it just sucks that, like, the moment you try to, like, go and find your parents and your mom at least, and then come to find out she just got murdered.
But and then you become friends.
Yeah.
Literally friends with your mother's murderer. And I'm gonna share this real fast. Just that's her. That is her.
Them together. Like they take pictures together, they hang out, they talk, like it's like
he's weirdly obsessed with her.
Yeah, which was awkward. It's like I understand like her point of view, but I'm also like it's one of those I'm trying really hard not to pass judgment because I understand people's coping mechanisms are different.
I get that. I totally get that. I have to share this other picture though, because I think that it shows that he still has some of his old way in him.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the look on his face.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the look on his face.
It kind of looks like she's trying to playfully choke him or something, which is like a common thing he did.
Mm-hmm.
And just that kind of look of like excitement, like, oh. So that's where we're going, huh? And it's like, no, that's not where you're going.
The way that he's holding his shoulders and his hands, he looks like he is ready to do that to her.
Yeah.
Like, I know that they're friends, but there's just something about his eyes in this picture.
It's sinister. It is sinister.
It really is.
Like, I understand that for the most part, she's protected because, there's like guards and stuff and everything. But if that was like anybody else, like in a regular environment, it would not go down like how it is.
Yeah, absolutely not. She would be fucking murked the way that he murked her mom.
Yeah.
And here's a really weird thing. She is asking if he could possibly be her father. Yeah. You didn't hear about that? So
kind of, but like it was just one of those. I just assumed it was like a ridiculous rumor. I just didn't think she actually believed it herself because it's like, what relationship would she have had?
She, because he claims that he had met her mother before he killed her. She was like, "Could you be my father?" And he's like, "I don't think so, but there is a possibility."
Gotcha.
So he's basically admitting that he also fucked 14-year-olds. Just saying. Just another level of gross. Another level of
gross and just of course.
Yeah, it was rough. Now, she and Peter have been meeting with Richie the fucking Mook in prison since 2017 and like just begging him to make confessions. And, Anzalotti had been spending 15 years interviewing him, trying to get him to make confessions. But finally, they raised the actual number of victims to 11. But I mean,
they think the number might be higher than that.
Yeah, they think that the number might be. He claims that the number is anywhere between 85 and 100 murders.
Which, of course, he's going to because he's a narcissist and he likes the attention. But if I were being realistic, especially since like how the timelines were going, because he was waiting at least a week, I'd say maybe 20, but I could be wrong,
Yeah. I mean, we will say right now, we are podcasters. We are not.
Yeah.
I'm
not a scientist. I'm not an officer. I'm not a detective, but just from what I saw, some people speculated that it could be 20, but it could be more. It could be
more, could be less.
Could be anything.
It could be 12. It could be 11. He could have confessed to crimes that he didn't actually commit.
Right.
We don't know because he's a fucking. I mean, look at Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole. They confessed to so many things that they didn't do.
Right.
They also said that they were, in weird satanic murder cults. So,
of course.
We'll
People
talk about
actually
them
believe
someday
in
because
those.
we gotta talk about them someday because
Yeah.
their story is fucking wild. But that is the story of Richard Cottingham, aka
Richie the fucking Mook.
Richie the fucking Mook, aka the Torso Killer,
AKA the
the
New York Ripper,
yeah,
AKA the Times Square's killer. But we're
mhm.
just gonna call him Richie the Mook.
Richie the fucking Mook.
Richie the fucking Mook.
That's his name now. You're
Yep.
welcome, universe.
Yep. I will drink my last bit of drops to that.
Same. So as we said, next week we are talking about Rodney Alcala.
AKA the dating killer. I'm so excited for this
Dating
one.
killer. I know.
He's
I'm
not my
excited
favorite or anything. It's just, it's a fun case. I mean, fun, use that term loosely.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But until next week, be sure to again check us out on Patreon, follow us on YouTube. That way we can get an actual YouTube link. Check us out on Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, all of the things. Go see CM's art show. That is going to be so amazing. I'm so excited for you.
Or don't, I'm not your boss. So
yeah. I am your boss and I'm telling you to go see it or else you're fired.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not your boss. I'm the audience's boss. And go see CM's art.
I got some new pins, so please come get them.
Yeah.
You mind if I show one?
What?
You mind if I show one of my pins?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I just happen to have it out.
Yeah.
This is actually one of the acrylic pins I will be selling exclusively at the show. I hope you can see that well.
Oh, I love it.
It's my crystal mohawk. It was originally a painting that I made back in 2019, I believe, and I revamped it, freshened it up, and now it's like pretty, and you can actually has a nice little back on there to where you can
love that.
Yeah, so you can pin it wherever you want. And I'm actually going to be making another really fun design that's in the mail right now. So
exciting.
Got some fun stuff coming.
Exciting. That's so much fun. All right. So until next Friday at 7:30, we will see you then. And until then, stay safe and
don't get murdered.
Don't trust anybody named Todd, Tommy, or Richard.
Yep. Don't trust them. They're bad news.
That is bad. Those are the bad news. No names.
Bad vibes.
No names.
Bad time.
See you next week, guys.